Hello everyone, welcome to your live news show. We are going to discuss the latest news around Old Trafford. 100,000 capacity are the words I'm hearing on the street. We're also going to talk about the Premier League Hall of Fame nominees and who should or who shouldn't be in it. We want your thoughts on that. And maybe a little bit of transfer talk towards the end as well, as it is the international break and you all know the score with that one. So make sure you smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel, just click the red box at the bottom. Is it the red box?
I think it depends on your browser now.
Pending the box, just the box where it says subscribe if you haven't already.
Where it says subscribe, click that one.
Hit that button. Now we're going to kick things straight off, Sam. First and foremost, welcome. In fact, before we kick it off, how are you?
All right. Short week this week, so Easter if you're not from UK.
Oh, bank holiday, yeah.
Bank holiday on Friday, bank holiday on Monday, so 4-day week this week, 4-day week next week, 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be good times for Man United if these plans go through. Well, I think most people would probably agree with that. Now, it's a big number, Sam, 100,000. The question I wanted to ask you is, there are 2 football stadiums in the world that hold the capacity of 100,000. Can you name any of them? Do you know any of them?
Is the Cowboy Stadium in America?
So this is just, I specifically typed, I didn't know this, so I specifically typed in, give me 2, how many stadiums are there that have more than football stadiums that have more than 100,000?
I know this.
And it's 2.
I'm pretty sure Dallas Cowboys holds over 100,000.
Dallas Cowboys, let's have a look, see how many
that might have just been for a certain show where they had stuff on the floor, so maybe I'm wrong on that. But
yeah, I know what you're saying.
I know there's one in Korea, in Pyongyang, that's 114,000.
Yeah, North Korea, 114,000. That's number 1. The Dallas Cowboys, the AT and T Stadium, 80,000 seats, or up to 105,000 with standing room as well.
That's what I was thinking of. I think there was a gig where it was like 100,000 people, a concert or something. So yeah, I know there's that. They're building that one, aren't they? The guys who are in charge of United's one are building one in Casablanca, and I think it's going to be, is it 120k? I think.
I know Casablanca, but where is Casablanca?
Morocco.
They're building one in Morocco, of all places.
I don't know why.
Bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, Populous, the architecture company that's in charge of the ones that's possibly building ours, they're building a 120,000 seater stadium in Morocco, in Casablanca.
Oh shit!
So
a lot of people that in it. The other one is Melbourne Cricket Ground, MCG.
Oh shit! Is that 100,000?
Hot capacity 100,000.
I've been there. It's never been 100,000. I've been
primarily used for cricket, but also hosts Australian rules football matches as well.
I went to an Aussie rules football match, and I went to when United did a pre-season tour when I was in Australia.
I didn't know that.
It was never 100,000 I saw though. So
what year was that? When they did pre-season in Australia? It was a good few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. When was I there? So
I would say at least like Mourinho.
Yeah.
At least.
I was out visiting Bianca around the same time. That's why I went at that time, because United weren't playing, so I didn't miss any matches. And then I found out because they went there. And I think they went to Singapore as well. China.
Yeah, Singapore. Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Now, this is obviously relevant to the topic today because there was a report in the Manchester Evening News that when United do make a decision on Old Trafford, whether that is building a brand new stadium or expanding it, the figure that they're looking at is 100,000. They're the words on the street. And we want to kind of discuss the positives and the negatives with that, because people hear that number and they're instantly just like, yeah, amazing, build it, da-da-da. But we want to kind of, dive into a little bit more detail of that. The first thing I had on my list, Sam, was increased revenue potential. Yeah. Now, we know United make, obviously, £4 million a match day, I think it is. So if they're upping that ante by 25%, which would make it probably an extra £1 million per match. We play how many matches in a season? 50 to 60, so an extra 50, 60 million quid a year. In terms of financially, what it's going to put out, that's good.
Well,
right?
That's just on the gate ticket as well. Like, that's not accounting for the food, the other stuff that you could go on, maybe concerts are there, blah, 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 like all this stuff. So, because I think Spurs per match day, I think it's 6 million, I think.
All right. Oh, wow.
Because of the food things that they have, and then they have the concerts there and stuff like that, all this stuff. So I think it works out 6 million. So obviously they're earning more than we are at the minute, even though they have a less of a capacity. So yeah, that's just basically on match day ticket gate revenue alone, so you're not even taking into account all the other stuff that you could do inside the stadium if we do build a new stadium. So you could put that on top. So maybe if you're saying 6-7 million, maybe 8-9 million on top with the food. Maybe you have the youth game kickoff before that, so you watch that, or maybe you can go in and sort of watch the other Premier League early kickoffs within the stadium, like all that different shit that you could do. So yeah, there's a lot of revenue to be had just beside the 100,000 seats.
Yeah, you heard Ratcliffe talking about that, didn't you? In the interview, he was saying they want to make it an event when people are there, so they start spending money on hospitality and food and making it a whole kind of day. So, by the end, whatever it is they're spending, usually, I don't know, if you buy a ticket for 50, 60 quid, you're also there, you're buying food, you go into this thing, you go into, like, multitude of things.
Like, we're match-going fans, like, we go to Old Trafford quite often. Why does everybody go? Hotel football.
Yeah.
Literally it, isn't it? Everybody goes to hotel football
because it's the only thing close,
it's
really.
The only thing close. So think of how much money on a match day hotel football is making. Like probably making a significant amount of money in the bar area and the restaurant area they have. It just is so weird how the Glazers have not thought. Well, Gary Neville's just built this hotel right next to our stadium, and he's earning this amount of money. We could have all that money if we just built something here.
They could actually, because of the demand around the stadium, and because I know there are other kind of local pubs that are there that are connected to the club, but they're hammered as well. You can't even get a pint in them, like the Tollgate and things like that. But the ones surrounding it, you could build 12 hotel footballs and you'd still fill every single one of them, especially if you're going to increase the capacity.
You could build a massive big box park with a load of food stalls like Mackie Mayo or something like that, all different food types. You could have a little sort of thing over there where you could go play games, kick a penalty, football, all that stuff.
For kids, activities.
Could have so
much potential.
It's ridiculous. Sean's in the chat said, need a Greggs in the stadium. I would love that. That would be amazing.
Oh,
Greggs
what a shout that is. That is sensational.
So
a chicken bake watching the match.
So Jim, sort it out.
Yeah, so Jim, get a Greggs in there, mate. Greggs kill it anywhere they go, but you put a Greggs in Old Trafford, fucking hell, they would sell out rapid. Yeah. They have no sausage rolls, quite literally. Amongst other things than Greggs and stuff like that, you obviously have we've mentioned the surrounding area. You can then connect Salford Quays to that as well. People like a whole kind of chain of events getting through there. It's going to cost a lot of money, but United are going to make a lot. We've spoken about high-profile sporting events and tournaments and concerts and things like that, which are only naturally going to improve it. And then not only that, Sam, the atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere after the Liverpool game was fucking explosion. And then you're talking about an extra 27,000 people on top of that. It's going to be booming, innit, with that many people.
People are like, oh, how are we going to fill it? I guarantee you'll fill it. United, if you put another 27, you'll have another 27,000 season ticket holders waiting to snap them up. I guarantee it. It's never not going to fill because we struggle. We've been to we go to quite a few games and we struggle to get tickets at the best of times. So you were extremely lucky. Shout out to Jay Motti for hooking you up with a ticket. You were extremely lucky to get a ticket to that game because people were looking for it like gold dust. So if you put another 100,000 on top of that, just makes it easier for people to get a ticket, even though they probably will sell out anyway, regardless. So
there's a lot of positives for me about it. More, it's probably kind of weighed more by positives, but there are a couple of negatives that I want to discuss. Obviously, for United to Jim, for the people that, the planning costs and stuff like that, you've got kind of high contribution and maintenance cost. Who's going to pay for this? First and foremost, I think that would maybe be a concern of the fans, do you think?
Yeah, I hope it's Sir Jim, and I hope it's United. I hope it's not passed on to the council and stuff like that, which then means it's passed on to us as taxpayers and council taxpayers.
There's been rumours of that, hasn't there, with asking for funding and stuff.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. If you're one of the richest men in Britain and you've got a highly successful billion-dollar company, I think you need to put your hand in your pocket and fucking pay for it yourself. I understand if the regeneration of the area surrounding it, then yes, get Manchester Council involved. But the stadium itself, I think you need to fork that out. Manchester United is one of the most successful football clubs in the world. Our revenue is the highest of any club in the world, even though City like to pretend it's theirs, but you see what's happening with them with the 115 charges. So, I think we need to put our hand in the pocket of the stadium. But I think it's good to be hand in hand with Manchester Council with Andy Burnham and stuff like that and develop that area, because there is a lot of potential for that area. And at the minute, there's fuck all going on. Like it's hotel, like I said, it's hotel football, and then that's it really. You have to walk down to Salford Quays, and even that area is a little bit dry, man. Like it's a little bit sort of suffering.
For where it is, I do agree with that. Like Salford Quays itself has so much potential. Into, like some nice things. The Alchemist is nice, Botanist, and they've got a couple of things there. And
like, you go to Lowry Outlet, it's fucking dead.
It is dead. It is really. Apart a match day, it's busy, obviously naturally, but I know what you're saying. Like the potential and scope is huge. Another concern used there. This isn't going to relate to United, but obviously filling seats. If it was an international game, sometimes you have some empty seats. If it's City Stadium, you have empty seats. But United won't have an issue, will they? Filling 100k, like you just said.
Not for United games. So maybe if you had, like you said, maybe because we're not in selection for the Euros, because our stadium's not to code. Maybe the next time that came around, say it's a World Cup. I think you'd be able to fill it easily with like sort of like international games and stuff like that. Maybe on friendlies, or maybe on like sort of lesser qualifiers. Maybe you do like City do with every single match day, where they discount it to get people in the door. You can do that to get like kids in for like a $5 or something like that, just so they get to see Old Trafford and stuff like that. That'd be good. But on match day, Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, I think you'd be fine.
The demand is just insane, isn't it? It is ridiculous. To be honest, even getting a ticket now is difficult. Really, really difficult. Even for like just regular Premier League games, it's hard to get them. So, I mean, if you know the right people, you can get them. But I'm just saying, for like a regular person, if they want to go online and go and buy one, it's hugely hard. What about the transportation and infrastructure around the whole thing? Because as you know, and as I know myself, leaving there, you are like in someone's crotch on the fucking tram, mate. It's like, it's horrible. So obviously they're gonna have to take that into consideration, aren't they? You know, kind of expand these networks and stuff around the area.
I don't need a more regular tram on match days, like sometimes, which is so fucking stupid. Like when I go to work in City Centre in the morning, sometimes you'll have double trams and stuff like that. Sometimes on match day it'd be a single tram. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why is this?
It's weird, that, isn't it?
It's just like, work it out, lads. Like, sort it out. Get like double trams every 5 minutes, just so you're getting people going bang, bang, bang. Just getting them going. You've got Andy Mitten spoke about it on Talk of the Devils. There's that train station that is in disuse behind Old Trafford. You could get that back into use and turn it into like a functioning train station or a tram stop. There's more people can get in there, get off. You've got the Wharfside one, and then you got the Old Trafford one. So there's 3 different stops there, which is sort of eases the congestion a little bit. I think you need to sort of work that out, because I think the transportation links, if you don't drive, is fucking awful. Like, it's abysmal. If you're a tourist coming from the city centre, or you're like me coming from Sale and it's just a fucking nightmare to get there. And that's why nobody wants to go there like an hour before the game, because you're just like, it's just going to be a fucking hassle, man. Like, it's just a fucking thing. So they need to sort that out, and I hope that's where Manchester Council comes in and sort of puts the thing and goes, we're going to restructure this, going to put all these different trams on, new tram stop, blah blah blah, make it more regular. I hope that's what happens, because it's desperately needed now. Never mind if a new stadium with 100,000 people goes in.
I've tried a couple of different routes. So I remember going with my girlfriend once, White City, parking there. That was the worst decision we ever made. Now, like 3 hours to get out and get home. Parking there, it was terrible. I tried parking up at Trafford Centre, getting the tram. That's one of the better ways to do it. And then you can park near like Coronation Street and then walk up. It's like a 10-15 minute walk, which isn't too bad. So there are ways, but it's just awkward, isn't it? Like, they could make it much more accessible, in my opinion. Another thing it sounds really bad, we won't be too concerned with, but there are safety concerns for, you know, people who are building it. You got like crowd control, emergency evacuations, these kind of things, which sounds very far-fetched. I get that, but there is an extra 27,000 people, so that's something to be considered, right?
Absolutely, but I'm sure they're going to have measures in place. Like, you've got Wembley, which is 90,000 people, so it's close, and I'm sure they have measures in place to sort that out. So I'm sure there'll be things in place to make sure that's not a problem and things don't get out of hand and people are able to get out safe. I hope the do something about the disabled section as well, because it's a fucking disgrace where that disabled section is.
Isn't it?
Right under the away fans, like at Liverpool game, I saw a fucking flare being chucked into the disabled fan section because they put it right next to the away fan. Like, sort that shit out. But a new stadium, put the disabled fans in a fucking safe part of the stadium and accessible.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, like, who the fuck designed that? Like,
definitely, because they moved them. They used to be somewhere else, I think. They used
to be for more like corporate seats and,
I think
hospitality seats and shit like that. Yeah.
Make sure disabled fans have like an access where they're not being hounded by away fans and getting shit thrown at them, and they can see the pitch and it's accessible so they can get in and out nice and easily. Sort that out as well, because that's a fucking disgrace.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to touch on, I mean, there's stuff like environmental issues and stuff, but I'll leave that to the Greta Thunbergs of this world. The actual feeling inside, if it is going to be a new stadium, because I remember Marcus Rashford talking about this in an interview. I don't know if you saw it, where he's saying like, if you're actually in Old Trafford, like sometimes he just stays in there for hours, but it's quiet and it has this kind of like sound about it and air about it. How are you going to get that back? Because it is going to be different in that sense.
It takes time, doesn't it? I know when West Ham moved from Upton Park, that was the name of their stadium, wasn't it? Upton Park.
Yeah.
To the London Stadium, they didn't like it at first, did they? Because the running track was there, they were too far away to pitch, they felt the acoustics wasn't good. Like, there was a couple of bits of things they weren't a fan of. However, that was built as a sports stadium rather than a football stadium, so I think that had something to do with it. But they sort of changed things, moved the seats closer to the pitch. I think they changed some of the acoustics and stuff. I think they figured it out now, and now it's like a rocking stadium. So I think, yeah, it will take some getting used to, but hopefully, because it's being designed as a football stadium first, hopefully they take that into account, and you have like the crowd right on the pitch, right over the top of it, so you create that atmosphere, you create that sound, you create that noise, and it's easier to get up. So even if there isn't quite 100k, you still get that feeling, you still get that vibe that you get at the old Trafford. Because let's face it, like, I love Old Trafford. I like seeing United is what it's all about, but it's not a fun stadium to go to, man. Like, it isn't. Like, it's a fucking decrepit.
It depends on your look in it. If you're just going there purely for the atmosphere, it can be amazing at times.
Atmosphere is amazing, but everything else fucking sucks, and I hate it.
Yeah.
The food, the seating, crampedness, everything. But the Marcus Rashford, the atmosphere is fantastic. But what makes the atmosphere is the fans. So as long as the fans who go to Old Trafford week in, week out go to this new stadium, I think the atmosphere will still be there. Get the TRA, make more of that TRA singing section, make it bigger, make more, maybe discount it so more fans can get in there and start like making a bit of noise. Make sure you got the Stretford end in there as well. Make sure those guys are always there, like, taken care of. So yeah, I think you could create the atmosphere as long as the fans are a part of it. But yeah, it's right. It's a fair sort of fear to have, I think, because it has happened when other clubs have moved stadiums. Or
it's like moving house, isn't it? Like, you have to make it your home in that sense. And I feel like it's gonna be weird for people like Fergie then, like, it's like a Scouser. It's gonna be weird for people like Fergie because, you know, he's managed there for fucking whatever, 27 years or whatever. And just seeing a new just for fans, like the first game walking in. And just, I don't know, it's just going to be strange, very, very strange. I think it does help the fact that it's obviously next to Old Trafford, or allegedly it's supposed to be being put next to there.
Like, exactly. Getting there is the same thing, so you're not having to travel to, like, the other side of Manchester or somewhere different where people get like, oh, I'm not quite sure, and they're a bit thing. It's in the exact same area, so you take the exact same journey, and you hopefully, the way they lay it out, you hopefully sit in the exact same place that you were sitting in Old Trafford if you've got a season ticket, and they lay it out, you know, sort of a similar fashion. That will hopefully be the case, but we don't know yet. But it's still a lot of planning to be done, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if Ineos do want to go on this journey, and they do want to take United back to the top of football in Europe and the Premier League and stuff like that, having a stadium like this, a state-of-the-art one that's 100,000, is just fitting United in that direction. So I hope they do it now. My head's been completely turned. I like the idea of it. It's going to take a good couple of years. There's going to be more and more stuff coming out about this, I'm pretty sure, but so we can park that discussion just for now. I mentioned the Premier League there, Sam. There has been a slightly different topic today in the Premier League Hall of Fame. There's been nominees that's been announced, and there's been one that's actually gone in there, in Ashley Cole, which we'll get into in a minute. But the nominees, I can't speak today. The nominees that we're going to discuss today: Sol Campbell, Gary Neville, Eden Hazard and Yaya Toure. I appreciate there are other ones on there. No Michael Owen and Les Ferdinand, Carrick. Like, I know there are others on there, but we're going to do it in kind of increments in like over the next couple of days, which we'll see. So we'll start with Ashley Cole. A couple of stats here for you: 385 appearances, 147 clean sheets, 3 Premier League titles. One of the finest left backs to play the game. Yeah. I know he was a bit of a dickhead, but I think we can agree in terms of like evolution as a left back going forward, defensive flair. He was right up there. And then after being a part of Arsenal's 2001 to 2002 and 2003 to 4 title winning teams, he then made obviously the controversial move to Chelsea, went and won a league title there. And I think the biggest compliment you can give Ashley Cole is the fact that in my opinion, I hate saying this because I love Ronaldo, but he pocketed Ronaldo every time he played against him. Every time. Top left back, wasn't
he? Yeah, fantastic. And also for England, he was arguably untouchable as England's left back for how many tournaments and how many years. Like, there was not a left back that came along where you're like, oh, maybe he could challenge him. Not one. Not a single left back came along. You're like, oh, this is going to be the next guy. He was immovable. Like, he's probably up there when you look at like some of the best left backs in the Premier League history.
Definitely.
He's in the top 3, if not.
Even in Europe, really, like, because the standard he put out, and wingers were just fucking terrified to play against. When any winger that's spoken about him or played against him, they've always said, I knew I was in for the fucking rough night. Yeah. Do you remember, was it Rio who said, like, I never ever, like, got nervous before a game or anything, but when I knew I was playing R9, in the Champions League, and I was like fucking bricking it basically. And it's the same with wingers when they come up against Ashley Cole.
Well, you saw it. You like when Raheem Sterling was flying. How many times did Wan-Bissaka just pocket him? Like City were winning everything. But
every time.
It's just and there's just certain defenders who just are able to shut wingers down. And I think Ashley Cole was in that vein. He just shut so many really talented players down, and he did it mostly with ease. Like, I never ever saw him like struggle. I never saw him have a horrendous game. I'm sure he had like average games and not so great games, but
consistent though, in it.
Like, obviously personality wise, absolute dickhead, and I can't stand him as a person, but as a player, there's no question he's up there with if he's not the best, he's in the top 3. Like,
I think he is the best left back. Yeah, to be honest, that's ever played in the Premier League. Genuinely believe that. From one English fullback to the next one, one of our very own, Gary Neville is a red. He's a nominee. Now, people are very quick to write off Gary Neville, but even going through, I know he writes himself off, of course, yeah. But listen to these. So, 400 appearances, 148 clean sheets, and this is on the Premier League website. I didn't believe this. So, 400 appearances, how many goals do you reckon he's conceded? 400 games. Yeah.
Like 220 something.
37.
What? 37?
Check the Premier League website. 37 goals.
That's insanity.
That is madness, isn't it? 37 goals conceded in the Prem. I was like, that can't be right. I'm surely they've got that wrong. And I've double-checked the stats on this one because I got the fucked up the one the other day. Double down on it. Wow. Yeah, so 37 goals. He obviously had his relationship with Bex throughout, especially the 90s, was kind of pivotal to their success. Registered 35 assists, was named in the PFA Team of the Year on 6 occasions, Captain. 8 Premier League titles. Captain. Played in 4-5, captain as well. Played in 4-5 different evolutions of the squad, like, you know, from fucking playing with like David May and all these kind of guys, to then playing with like fucking Andy Coles and stuff.
Class 92, that class. So
also played 19 seasons for United. You don't see that kind of consistency and hard work without getting nominated, do you?
He should have been, like, when they first started. They started doing this like what, 3 years ago? Premier League Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
like it's fairly new, I think. He should have been one of the first ballots in my opinion. Like, there's no right back in the world that can touch his achievements and what he's done. Like, they don't exist. You cannot, like, there's no one that comes close. And I really dislike him for coming on, and he downplays his achievements, how good he was, his ability as a defender, his ability as a Manchester United. It's like, you played for Manchester United for, how long is it, 19 seasons?
19 seasons.
You were at the top of your game for pretty much all of them. You won everything there is to win. Multiple Premier Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues, multiple FA Cups, multiple League Cups, PFA Player of the Year. You captained the club for a significant amount of success in years. There's nobody else that comes close, and I just really dislike where he goes, "Oh yeah, I was all right." And then he lets other people say how he wasn't good, and put other defenders and other right backs above him, and it's just like, mate, realize who you are. Realize who the fuck you are and what you did and how good you were. It's disappointing because Jamie Carragher's allowed to come across like he was fucking one of the best centre backs in the world, and he never won the Premier League. And it's just like, how the fuck is he allowed to talk shit and Gary Neville has to just sit there and just go, "Yeah, I was all right." It's so
I think it was the case because the players that he played with, he obviously looked around him in the team in the 90s. He's gone, Beckham ahead of me, Jaap Stam alongside me, Cantona up front, Scholes and Keane in midfield. In terms of calibre, he wasn't on their level. I think we can kind of admit that. So maybe that's why he downplays it, because he's like, I was lucky to play in a team with these players. I mean, even Roy Keane says it, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's annoying because Fergie wouldn't have picked him if he wasn't any good. We've seen it. Fergie got rid of players who were good and just didn't fit his system or what they were there anymore. When he first came in, there was players like Norman Whiteside and Paul McGrath and stuff like that. They were seen as fantastic, and Fergie just got rid of him because it's don't fit anymore. So it's if you're staying around that long, you have to be good. You have to. I don't care what he says. You have to be good. But hopefully he gets sort of put in and he gets recognised for the defender that he is, because I think he's phenomenally good and criminally underrated, like a lot of Man United players are from that era. David Beckham, criminally underrated. People don't give enough respect to David Beckham, even though everybody knows who he is. They all just think, "Oh yeah, he was decent." It's no, he's fucking phenomenal for United. So
yeah, I think it'd be hard to beat his record in terms of what he's as a right back. I mean, you won't see that for a while. No. I mean, maybe Kyle Walker will get close in terms of not close in terms of trophies, but he won't be far off, I'd imagine, because Kyle Walker's been at City for quite a while now. Yeah. And ability-wise, I always said Kyle Walker is better, but to get grind that consistency out for 19 seasons,
and Kyle Walker's
is insane.
Already, 32, 33?
I think he's older. He's 34. Kyle
34,
Walker, yeah.
So he's not got much time left at the top. So 19.
Be hard to beat. And he's had a sensational career, so the comparison there just kind of shows you, doesn't it? I think one player, Sam, who would have given Gary Neville the fucking fright of his life because he struggled against Overmars, is another nominee in this Premier League Hall of Fame, and it is Eden Hazard. Yes. Just before I get into his stats and things like that, the first two is no debate. They both
no debate.
Should be in there, yeah? Okay.
Absolutely.
Also, everyone else, get your thoughts in. Please let us know if you disagree with any of these decisions, or which ones would you nominate as well, like the ones we're discussing. So the next one's Eden Hazard, 245 appearances, 85 goals, 54 assists, which is decent. Won every domestic trophy available during his 7 years at the club. Player of the season in 2014-15, 2 goal of the months, 2 times Premier League champion, and player of the month twice as well. And then in 2018-19, he won the Playmaker Award. So obviously his accolades speak for itself. 7 seasons at Chelsea, double figures in 5 seasons, by the way. But the thing is with Hazard, just didn't have that longevity, did he? That was the issue with him, especially when he went to Madrid, should I say.
Longevity, and then, there was a couple of stuff that I was speaking to a mate of mine, actually, who's a Liverpool fan, who I went for a drink with after the game. And we talk about Eden Hazard. I don't know how he came up, but we talk about it. And apparently, in pre-season, when the season finished, he'd just go off the fucking rails. He'd be eating pizza and wouldn't train at all, do nothing. So then by the time it came to pre-season training, he'd be behind everybody else because everybody else kept themselves in shape and stuff like that. So it'd take him a while to catch back up. And then when he had that, was it his ankle at Madrid? That he bad ankle injury. Really bad ankle injury. Apparently that's because he didn't keep himself in shape pre-season, it was so much harder for him to recover, and that's why he never fully got back to the player he was at Chelsea, because he didn't keep himself in shape. So there's another thing there. There's certain players who are so talented, but they just don't have the drive to stay in that zone. Obviously Ronaldo's a freak and he keeps himself in phenomenal condition, and not everybody's like that because genetics as well on top of that. But most players keep themselves in shape in pre-season. I know Wayne Rooney liked to let himself go a little bit. Shaw got done for it a couple of times. I think he's a lot better now than he has been. He looks fucking shredded at the minute. So
Grealish is another one.
So there's a lot of players who don't do that, but they make up for it because they are super talented.
And
I think he got away with it at Chelsea because of how talented he was. Like, I think for about 2 seasons, probably deserved a Ballon d'Or in my eyes. There was 2 seasons, it was unplayable.
Yeah, the issue is the Ballon d'Or, like the criteria in it with winning. I know he's won, like I said, every kind of domestic trophy there is, but I'm talking about like in a single season, you're seeing players with like trebles or World Cups really kind of tip. I mean, Erling Haaland just broke the fucking Premier League record and won a treble and didn't even win it, which is nuts. So people setting this kind of caliber with that, it's difficult to win. But in terms of a pure footballing, what a player, man.
Just couldn't get, like, he had a low centre of gravity. And he used his arse. I know it sounds weird, but he used his arse as like a weapon. He used to just back into players and then use it as a strength.
Sterling has a similar thing in his earlier career. Like he's got that kind of stature in it where low centre of gravity, and you can kind of like have that core strength to back people off.
Because he wasn't a big lad like Hazard. He's quite short, and he just used it to turn players, and he's gone. Like
he almost went under people, didn't he?
Yeah, he's really, really interesting player to watch, and I really. And then one of my favourite ever memories involved Eden Hazard. So there was a game Manchester United played Chelsea. And it was Jose, I think, and Herrera, one of my favourite players, was basically told by Jose, you stay on him, you follow wherever he goes on the pitch, Eden Hazard, you follow him, don't let him out your sight, you can stay within 2 yards. And if you watch that game, he shut Eden Hazard out of the game, which is one of the first times I've ever seen it been done. Like, I just didn't. This is the only way to shut him out of the game. You have to just put a man on him and go, do not let him get the ball. And you literally just, there's like highlights of just Ander Herrera just following him around the pitch, just literally just all the way around.
Dived into his Ji-Sung Park archive, didn't it?
Just completely thing. And it's just, I think it might have been a commentator or somebody on like social media basically was like, I wouldn't surprise me if Ander followed him to the toilet at half time. Because he was just on him, and that's the only time I've ever seen someone mark him out of the game, because that's how dangerous he was and how good he was. So yeah, phenomenal player. But like you said, longevity, injuries, and then maybe commitment to the game maybe sort of lets him down a little bit. But ability-wise, fantastic.
Right up there with the very best in it. I remember watching a clip of him, and he was with Willian, I think it was Jorginho, and maybe someone else, and he was doing like kick-ups with like different objects and stuff. And they did it with a rugby ball, and a couple of the players got like 3, 4, 5 out of it. Hazard was just kept going and going. He was like, "What the fuck's going on here?" It was just like technical ability. There was the goal he scored. Was it against Arsenal or Burnley or someone like that? I think it was, where he just ran it from like the number 6 position, went all the way up to the other end of the pitch and bagged. It was one of the best goals that the Premier League's seen. Unreal player, man. Like top. I think he gets underappreciated as well as another one. So in terms of being considered for his talent, I would agree. Won every domestic treble, won Premier League titles. So what is less of a given, I think, than the others.
It should be a consideration, absolutely consideration, but a shoe-in and an absolute yes. I think there's other people who deserve to go in before him.
I think I'd agree with that. Yeah, I'm going to read out a couple of comments. MUFC says, Scott McTominay signed a new deal. It's the right decision because let me tell you why. Which player can you buy around 35 million with the same output as McTominay? I mean, I don't think a lot of people would agree with that personally. I think if you can get 40 to 50 mil for McTominay now, it'd be pure profit first and foremost because he's an academy product. He's at the right age to sell. I appreciate he scored a lot of goals, but he is effectively, as a player, a super sub. In my opinion, at least. I don't know what you think about that, Sam.
Doesn't offer anything other than goal scoring. His passing, not great. Can't tackle, isn't quick, isn't sort of like offering anything like playmaking ability or anything like that, vision, etc. Great to bring on if you need a goal. Will crash a box and make things difficult for defenders and get space and stuff like that, which is great. But yeah, I just think we need somebody who's got a well-rounded ability and is able to sort of either, depending on which way I want to play, either a water carrier who can take the ball from the defensive midfield and get it forward to like a Bruno and the wingers, or like a defensive 8 who's able to dictate play, pick up the ball and pick passes out and stuff like that. We need somebody like that. I know is it João Neves? Benfica, he's been talked about and stuff like that. So there's a couple of young, really interesting, what's the guy from Porto? Is it Porto?
I don't know.
Fucking Aaron mentioned him. He's got a really unusual name.
Oh, from Sociedad.
Sociedad.
Yeah, Spanish player. Zubamendi.
Zubamendi, yeah.
Yeah.
There's players like that who are about, like, you could pick up, and I think you could get them for probably 40, 50 million. I don't think they'll cost that much more. So I think you can look at those sort of players who will give more output and are better on the ball than Scott McTominay. But I'm not going to slag Scott McTominay off because I refuse to this season for the amount of goals he scored for us. So I'm not going to slag him off.
Exactly. Yeah, we both agreed on that. Keep box-to-box midfielder in mind because the next player we're going to talk about was one of the best. I'm just going to read a couple more comments out. What even is this Hall of Fame? Hall of Fame, Premier League, the greatest, basically. I think in a short-term appreciation of some of the greatest players to play in the Premier League. That's mental. 37 can't be true. That's not true. It is. Go and look on the Premier League website now. Gary Neville. I've got it right up in front of me. 400 appearances, 5 goals, 57 losses, 256 wins, and then conceded. Let me get it up. Where the fuck's it gone now? 37 goals conceded. Go and look at the Prem website if you don't believe me. I was the exact same. I was like, what the fuck? Sean, 37, I can eat more sausage rolls. I believe you, Sean, fully. I believe you're
that's a lot of sausage
ambassador.
Rolls,
it is a lot of sausage rolls.
Are we talking like the mini ones? Or are we talking like the full Greg size ones? Like
it has to be a full Greg one. If you're claiming that 37 sausage rolls, it's got to be the proper ones.
I might be able to stretch to the 37 mini ones. I don't know if I could do 37 full Greg's ones.
I don't even know if I could do double figures sausage rolls. Genuinely, even if I was starving, like I don't know if I'd be able to put them away.
A lot of pastry.
It's very heavy on you. I don't think I'll be able to do that. But fair play to you, Sean. If you do it, video yourself and then send it into realredstalk99@gmail.com because I'd love to see that.
Don't do that. I don't want to see some. I don't want to see someone be sick.
Yeah. Maybe. Be good clicks though. Now, Yaya Toure, Sam, is the next nominee that we're going to discuss. A very, 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 very good player. Another one I think is underrated as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
230 appearances, 62 goals, 32 assists, 3 Premier League titles, 9 seasons at City. Decent amount of time there. In the 13 to 14 season was one in particular where he absolutely smashed it. He got 20 goals as a midfielder, which is fucking insane. And I think that was one of the 2 seasons which a centre midfielder has hit that mark in a single campaign. Obviously, the other one being Frank Lampard as well. He also added 9 assists in that campaign, earning him a place in the PFA Team of the Season year for the second time in 3 seasons. A colossal presence, an absolute monster in his prime, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Like, I think that was the start. Like, when they started buying players like him for City, that's when they started getting on, like, their sort of platform, didn't they, to start winning and start like dominating football. Like the likes of him, David Silva, Vincent Kompany, those kind of players. Once they started getting those sort of quality level of players, you're like Sergio Aguero, you were like, okay, these guys are a serious business here. I think, yeah, very underrated because didn't he start off as like a defensive midfielder originally? Did he start off as like a 6?
So he was a centre back as well at Barcelona.
He's a centre back as well, yeah. So like he was very defensive, and then all of a sudden at City, you just saw him like maraud through midfield, didn't he? Like he just take the ball and run, and just bully through people because he's an absolute fucking unit of a player as well, big lad, and just sort of marauded through players and absolutely destroyed them. And yeah, he had a fucking hell of a shot on him as well. The power,
rocket of a shot,
just smash,
dribbling, pace, everything you want from a box-to-box midfielder. He don't remind me of like Amadou Onana because his output was far more, outrageous. But in terms of stature, box-to-box, what they can do in the like, it gives me similar vibes in that sense. And I think we need a powerhouse like that in midfield, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I think he is everything we want Scott McTominay to be, isn't he?
Yeah.
Take the ball, dribble through, and score an absolute rocket of a goal. And Scott McTominay's got the last bit, can score a goal, and then everything else kind of sort of isn't there. But yeah, I think Yaya Toure is a really, really good player. It's just a shame he played for City and not us because I would have loved to have seen him play for United. But yeah, again, another underrated player. There's a lot of players you could sort of put in this Hall of Fame that you were like, oh yeah, they were really good, but they're not the first names that come to mind, if that makes sense. There's a couple of names where you're just like, yes, them, and then afterwards is these other names like Eden Hazard, like Yaya Toure, where you go, oh shit, yeah, they were fucking quality as well, weren't they? They were really good. So yeah, I think he sort of falls into that category. He's not the first thought, but I think he's definitely like in the next category below it.
Yeah. I've just sent you a thing on WhatsApp, Sam, because just for the people in the comment section saying 57 losses means he conceded 57 at least. That stat don't make sense. Exactly. This is on the Premier League website. That's all I'm saying, right? And we can put it on the screen. You can see it, the exact stats that he says. I'm not lying. I know what you're saying about the 57 losses. Doesn't make sense. But maybe they fucked up or there's been a malfunction. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you people. But you will see it on your screen momentarily.
I'll block.
So you know I'm not lying.
It's not important.
Is what?
I'll just block my face out. It's not important. So.
Block mine. I don't care as long as the stats are on the screen.
Yeah,
that's all I'm asked about.
I'm on the website. Is there like clean sheets?
It says done it.
Yeah, for the goals conceded 37. Yeah.
400 appearances, 57 losses. But then I'm like, is that 57 losses whilst he's been in the team, or is that 57 losses just in general?
Goals conceded, like I don't know how they're interpreting it.
37 goals conceded. That's what he's saying.
I don't understand how they've. Because
Henry's saying
block shots too. That doesn't make sense, does it?
I don't know what's. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
How could he have 2 shots blocked in 400 fucking appearances? That's bollocks.
Yeah, the Premier League are fucked up there, aren't they? But then all the others seem like bang on. Like I'm sure he's got 5 goals. I'm sure that's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. 148 clean sheets. That sounds correct.
Yeah, and 400 appearances. So obviously they've got some of the stats fucked. Like I don't know. Don't know what to tell you.
Successful 50-50s 9 in 400 games. Is it 37 games per season?
Feels like Wikipedia or something, doesn't it? Like someone's altered it just for a fucking. Yeah, I don't know. We can move on anyway. It's not that. Yeah. That's what's on there. Take it or leave it. If you don't believe it, if you want to go do your own research, be my fucking guest. It is what it is. The last one we're going to discuss, Sam, is Sol Campbell. Now, this is the one for me that's a little bit... He wouldn't be top of my nominee list, let's just say, for example. So, 500 appearances, 153 clean sheets, 2 league titles. I know you want to... Well, you're going to get into the kind of Spurs and Arsenal controversy and all that kind of shit that happened. He was obviously a big part of the Invincible team, which was hugely successful, even though they got 12 draws and got knocked out like by Middlesbrough in the League Cup or whatever it was. Whether or not he deserves to go in as a legendary status is questionable for me. 2 trophies, top class defender, no doubt. But I don't know what are your thoughts and feelings on that?
Very talented player. Like he was like the original centre back, wasn't he? Like he was ever present for England, then Arsenal, and obviously the Spurs thing as well. And then we sort of had a rush of centre backs after that. You had like Rio, John Terry, like that kind of stuff. But he was like the original one, like very, very good defender.
Quick as well.
Quick, strong. Yeah. Again, big, massive like unit as well. Very scary. Come up to against if you're a striker. So yeah, I think he had a lot of qualities, and I think again he wouldn't have played for Arsenal in their successful seasons if he wasn't any good, because obviously Arsene Wenger was instrumental in changing the way they played and making them extremely successful in those early 2000s period. I think he's looked down upon by a lot of Arsenal fans because of the Spurs thing. I think a lot of Arsenal fans see him as like a...
I mean, the other way, a lot of Spurs fans because of the Arsenal, because obviously he moved from Spurs to Arsenal.
Yeah. A lot of like people see him as like a bit of a sort of betrayer, Judas.
They did that thing, didn't they, with Gary Neville on the overlap about the fucking the biggest is one of the biggest betrayals, that, isn't it? Yeah. You think 9 years at Spurs, that'd be like Rashford now almost going to City.
Yeah, it's a very, there's lines drawn, isn't there? Like you couldn't imagine, for example, Bruno going to Liverpool. Look at you couldn't just be like, oh, like Bruno's going to Liverpool. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like a man who's just synonymous with United, a captain, everything United want to be, and then he goes to Liverpool. It's like that kind of thing. It was. Do you remember Gabriel Heinze wanted to go to Liverpool? Do you remember that, the United player?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that would have happened? The abuse this guy would have gotten when we went to Liverpool came to Old Trafford or we went to Anfield. Yeah, there's certain teams you can't transfer to and from. I mean, Michael Owen isn't looked upon that fondly by Liverpool fans either, and he didn't even go directly from Liverpool to United. He went to 2 other clubs before he came to us. There's certain teams you can't play for if you play for one team, and that's unfortunately where he suffered, and it's probably why he's not seen as highly as maybe he should be because of that.
Didn't win as much either though. Like
no.
I know it's 2 Premier League titles, but I'm just saying, like, we were discussing Hazard then and saying, like, he's definitely in the discussion, but he had won every domestic treble, more talented in terms, I know different positions, but more talented in my opinion than someone like Sol Campbell, because I think Hazard was an enigma. So for me, I don't know if it's more of a. I think that's the one out of everyone that we've spoken about who's not the given. Who I'm like, I'm not too sure on that. But Arsenal fans will probably tell you he was the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, over 500 appearances. I think he's like the second or third. 3 central defenders. Sorry, have only done that. So again, consistency is pretty good.
Highly successful, like really highly successful. Won titles, won trophies. Like he will end up in a Hall of Fame at some point. I think if you've won multiple Premier League titles, you probably deserve to go in. I think if you're instrumental in winning those titles, so he probably does deserve to go in at some point. Is John Terry already in? Is he already in?
Yeah, he'll be in. Yeah,
Rio's in, isn't he? Rio's in.
Yeah, Rio's in. Shearer's in. Henry's in.
I know Vidic is. We're not talking about Vidic today, but I know he's on the nominee list. I'd put Vidic in before Sol Campbell personally.
Oh yeah. For sure, man.
That might be United bias from me, but yeah.
No, it's not. Like the period, we'll discuss that anyway because we can get into it. Let me know the people that we've spoken about. We've obviously got Sol Campbell, we've got Yaya Toure, we've got Eden Hazard, and we've also got Gary Neville and Ashley Cole, who obviously already been put in there. But out of the nominees, they're the ones. Let us know out of them who would you put in first, who deserves it the most. Now there will be a bit of red tints out there that people are putting Gary Neville in there, of course. But let us know out of them who would you put in for you, Sam? Who's the glaring?
Ashley Cole's already in, isn't he?
Yeah.
So Gary Neville has to go in. I don't give a shit whether it's United bias or not, but he has.
So in this order, is that?
Well, Ashley Cole's already in. I'd put Gary Neville before Ashley Cole, but.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And then Yaya Toure, I'd probably put in third.
Okay. And then Hazard, and then Sol Campbell.
Hazard, and then Sol Campbell. Yeah.
Oh, it's a tough one, man, because Yaya Toure was so good.
Actually, I could Hazard and Campbell. I'm easy.
That's what I'd say.
I could go either way, really.
Yeah. Hazard, in terms of ability, is probably the best on the list, really.
Yeah.
Natural ability, he's the best. But then, obviously, longevity comes into it. Consistency, trophies you win. How long you're in the Premier League for. Yeah. Gary, Yaya, Hazard says True Kush, man. Is my internet acting, or are you guys lagging? I think it's your internet. What I can see on the stream. The stream seems absolutely fine. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be discussing the other nominees. There'll be 4 more. I'm not sure who it'll be. Maybe it'll be Carrick in there. Maybe Vidic will be in there. Michael Owen, etc. So we're going to discuss that. Make sure you guys join in for that. We're also going to talk about an article that Andy Mitten has put out on Amad Diallo, which is a very interesting, real deep dive. Always good work from Andy Mitten, top level journalist. So we want to dive into that. I wish we could speak to him about it actually, because
maybe one day.
I think the article's fascinating.
With the things we've got in place for the next couple of weeks, maybe we can make it happen sooner than you think. But
I mean, we've had the people we've had on the channel already. Why not? Why not? You know what I mean? Aim for the what's that line by Kanye? Aim for the stars, so you land on the moon. Is it?
Yeah, shoot for the stars. If you fail, then you end up landing on the moon. So
there it is. I think there's no better way to leave it than that, Sam. Unless you had anything else.
No. Go check out the video you did on Premier League midfielders. I think.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Go check that out. That's on the channel. Check out After Dark. That was what I was going to mention. If you're a member, I don't know if there's any members in the chat, but if you are a member, you can check that out right now. It's just about an hour's worth of us talking utter nonsense.
It's so funny.
Non-football related. And the best thing didn't even happen on camera, and I'm annoyed that I didn't catch it because there's a little hint of it in the show. if you keep your eyes closed, you will see it.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled, sorry, you will see it. But yeah, one of the funniest things that's ever happened, and I didn't catch it on camera. But some really interesting topics. We talk about zombies, talk about illegal laws that are a bit weird, and we talk about social media. So go check that out, and yeah, let us know what you think. Everybody else will get to see it Thursday. I'm going to release it Thursday because it's Easter weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was like, I'll release it on Thursday, and everybody gets to see it over the weekend. So yeah, if you want to wait till Thursday, then you get to see it then. If not, if you want to see it now, join the membership. It's about £3-4 a month, and it helps support the channel. And there's some other stuff on there. Nick does like a load of videos on there, and there's the previous After Dark episode as well. If you want to check that out, that's on there as well.
Yeah. Do you want to know how it's good? My girlfriend don't watch any of my content really. She likes United, but she's not interested in like the intricacies and all that kind of stuff. She sat there and watched the whole thing with me last night and was like, "That's the best thing you've done." Like she was just like laughing her head off. So please do make sure you go check it out. It's really, really good. Proper laugh. Takes your mind away from football and everything, and the international break, of course, as well, because no one likes the international break.
And Chivy, Chivy learned a lot of new things as well. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's got everything you need. Make sure you go hit it up. Click the link in the description if you want to become a member. Make sure you drop us a follow on socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're absolutely everywhere. And most importantly, smash that subscribe button, and we will see you guys in the next one. You're all a bunch of legends. Take it easy.